On a random day at school, Anna decided to pick a huge fight with me in front of everyone in the cafeteria. And I let her have it. I told her that I had grown tired of her and she was just jealous since she was no longer on my level. I went on to say how we were never even in a real relationship, and that she should stop pretending otherwise, because it made her look desperate. The entire cafeteria erupted with laughter, thinking she was just another one of the delusional girls that wanted to be with me. We all watched as she went on an angry rant until her face was red, and some people even began to record on their cell phones. That made Anna furious. Not only had I embarrassed her in front of everyone, but I dumped her, and now her popularity would be affected. Her last words before storming off were, "I made you, and I'll ruin you!" I simply brushed her off and returned to eating lunch with the other girls at my table. That's when some of the girls came up with an insane idea. They were all talking about how they would have some type of contest that would determine who deserved to be with me now that Anna was out of the picture. I laughed it off, agreeing to humor their silly little contest. I figured I was in hot demand and would never go back to being unpopular at that point. Later during the week, I found out that the girls had taken their challenge to the extreme. They decided that instead of just being my girlfriend, the winner would marry me. I had never agreed to anything like that. The girls decided their contest was to see who would go the furthest to prove their love, and it was extremely awkward. Some girls performed songs for me, and others wrote poems and stories dedicated to me. But the winner was a girl named Kylie. Kylie created a whole mural in her room, along with a sculpture of me made out of plastic and some of my old gym clothes. Even though it was extremely creepy, I decided it had the most thought and declared her to be the winner. Kylie came to me, actually expecting me to propose right then and there. I tried explaining that things were just a terrible misunderstanding, but she wasn't listening. She demanded that I marry her by choice or by force. I laughed off the situation, thinking it was all a strange joke, until I was abducted. After school that day, I was followed by a black van. After noticing they were trailing me for 3 blocks, I began to get suspicious, but by then, it was too late. A pair of strong arms sprouted from the vehicle and pulled me into the car. Something was placed over my face, and the next thing I remembered was waking up in a dark, strange room that was barred away from the outside world. The only thing I could see on the inside was a flight of old, dusty stairs. There was a small window with bars above me that I used to help me keep track of time. At first, I thought it was just a cruel joke, but the longer I remained holed away, the more afraid I grew. Surely Kylie couldn't have been serious about forcing me to marry her, right? I received my answer when she came into the room to feed me. I pleaded with her to release me, but she said she'd only agree if I married her. She even found an old tuxedo and placed it near me so I could know she meant business. I thought it was all insane! Kylie held me captive for 3 whole days, and I was afraid I'd never get out of that place. That was until one day when I got a visit from the last person I thought I would ever get help from. It was Alexander. At that point, I was trembling because I thought he was coming to get his revenge for turning him into the laughingstock of the whole school. To my surprise, he didn't say a word to me, or even acknowledged me. After a short glare, he loosened my arms and legs. I wasn't sure where Kylie had come from, but somehow she heard the commotion and dashed down the stairs to chase after me and Alexander with a stick. We sprinted up the stairs and out of the abandoned building, wildly, without ever even sharing a word. We exchanged a final glance before going our separate ways. Once I returned home, my family were shedding tears of joy, saying how they thought I had run away or worse. I explained everything that had happened over the time that I went missing, and they got the police involved. After the police assured me that Kylie was taken into custody, I could finally rest easy. At least, that's what I thought. But things got even crazier. That night when I checked all my online accounts, all of my money was gone. Not even a penny was left. All I could do was stare at my screen in shock. If I went broke again, what would happen to the new life I was building? Once I went back to school, I don't know how, but news about me being poor again had already been spread around the school. At first, everyone was skeptical since I wasn't acting any differently, but right after I told a girl that I couldn't afford to buy her lunch, everyone started treating me like a nobody again. All of the girls that were once dying for my attention were barely even acknowledging my presence. The boys at my school no longer felt threatened by me, and even started making fun of me again. It felt horrible to be a reject again, especially after getting a taste of popularity. I went through the day hearing all kinds of rumors about why I suddenly went poor again. When I finally saw Anna around school, she'd just smile at me smugly. If Anna thought that I'd let her have the last laugh, she had another thing coming. I knew she needed to be ruined, and I would be the one to do it. After school one day, I met up with Alexander. I wasn't sure where we stood on the friend-to-enemy spectrum, but I knew I had to at least try. The first time I asked, he refused to get involved, but after telling him I'd pay him for his trouble, he shamelessly agreed. He also shared that he wanted to get back at Anna as well for completely humiliating him by dumping him like trash after they dated exclusively for 2 years. With that, we formed a plan to destroy everything Anna loved. The first thing we attacked was her reputation at school. I confronted Anna about everything she'd done to me, and Alexander caught it all on camera. Anna bragged about how she'd hired a hacker to steal all of my money and left me broke. She went on to say how Alexander was a fool for thinking she'd actually liked him or would stick around once he lost his popularity. She even said that her friends were a bunch of idiots that only followed whoever was popular. Once we had everything we needed, we shared it around to the whole school and exposed Anna for what she really was. A heartless opportunist. It didn't take long before the popular groups disowned Anna, and the whole school followed after. The next step in my plan was to attack the thing she loved the most. Her money. Once her reputation started going down the drain, I contacted the police anonymously and let them know all about the shady dealings Anna's family was a part of. I told them everything I knew, which was enough to freeze their accounts after they returned all the money they stole from me. Even though they were basically bankrupt, they tried to keep up with the extravagant lifestyle they were accustomed to and sold most of their belongings to do it. Once Anna showed up at school in old, worn-out clothes, she became the new laughingstock of the school, just like she had once made me. I had finally gotten my revenge. I decided that Anna wouldn't be bothering anyone anytime soon, and moved on to put all my focus on school. After graduation, I was able to send myself to one of the top universities in the country, thanks to the money I earned. I studied hard and graduated as the valedictorian. Fortunately, that wasn't the end of my journey. I took a year off to vacation a bit. Well, on vacation in the mountains, I was attacked by a mountain bear. Luckily, I managed to come out of the whole ordeal with just a few broken ribs and some gashes. That's where I met my girlfriend, Luna. She was a doctor that treated me. After I was better and released to go home, I asked her for her number and kept in contact. We began dating exclusively and even went into business together. Soon, with some hard work, we were on the face of magazines everywhere as young billionaires. Who knew one fight in school could have changed my life forever?